who are we keeping? Who is on the way out? Who's your core moving forward?
No, this is not for the faint of heart. So are we doing this in a reset or a rebuild angle?
We'll start with what was your word? Restructure.
Restructure.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
if that takes hold, I'm charging
yeah.
people. Um, so okay, so on the forward side up front, I'm gonna maybe stick to who's out, like who I would say is expendable now.
Right.
Um, so right now our biggest problem is that we have too many fucking wingers. It's just
Yeah.
too many. We have and too many high paid wingers. So
Whose
uh,
primary ability is to score.
yeah,
They're all the same.
there and there. But in this case, I am going to rip the band-aid off and expose Jonathan Drouin. I
Ooh,
think I am. While I'm a huge fan of his, I, I just think his future is best somewhere else. Given the fact that we have like what else we have. He's a playmaker though, so we may that may come to backfire for me. But Drouin, that he'd be offloaded for a piece that we need. Um, Armia, I like Armia. I think for playoff runs he's great. He's a big body, but he just doesn't give it every night. And quite frankly, at 3 point something million, not for me. So he'd be out. Lekanen, again, for me, trade him to a contender. Trade him to a someone who knows what he can do to you. Trade him to Vegas. If Vegas needs someone like that for the run. Um, but I think he has to go. The Paquettes of the world, the Perros, those are all rentals that you would offload. I think at the deadline
oh
if
yeah, for
anyone wants
sure.
them or waive them. Um, so I think up front that would be it. So like that would be my three main subtractions. On the back end, Kulak would be gone. Sherroth's going to be gone. I think at that point you'd leave it at that. I'd actually keep Savard, which I know is going to people are going to think I'm nuts, but we don't have any right hand depth. So until they do something to insulate behind Petrie, and even if they do, Savard is a number three,
Yeah,
right hand defenseman,
ideal.
great. But yeah, so Drouin, Armia, Lekanen, uh, gone. That's a good chunk of change there as well. Paul Byron would stay for me. I think Paul Byron is what we're missing on this team, and if we want to play fast and skill, that's who we need. So yeah, that's my restructure trades. I don't think Allen goes just yet. Maybe next year they'll trade Allen, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. Okay, so I uh, I agree with a lot of them. I'll start with Byron because you just mentioned him. I wish I could, offer some sort of reason to move away from Paul Byron, but regardless of what happens, or sorry, I should say, regardless of what path Gordon and Co. decide to take, next season's a wild card to me. So you don't know if you're going to compete or not. So that kind
Yeah,
of leads me into saying that, oh, and regardless of what happens, it's you rebuild or restructure. You need the leadership. You need a guy like Paul Byron.
yeah,
Um, and it leads into the goaltending situation as well, Price and Allen. If Price is sticking around, he's not a 60, 65 game guy anymore. You know
yeah,
what I mean? If you want to get the best out of Price, you need him to have some rest. So that would mean Allen would stay as well. So I'm with you there. Jonathan Drouin's a hard one because,
yeah,
dude, it's like, and I'm the same as you. I've wanted him to, explode in Montreal for forever. I've wanted him to reach that full potential, but it's at a point now where a fresh start might be what's best for him as well. But and you already mentioned it. He's a playmaker. The team lacks playmakers. So by giving him up, then you're severely weak in that type
yeah.
of play style, which I think has been one of the key cogs of what's holding us back. The defense not being able to move the puck and a bunch of forwards who have stone hands and prefer to shoot, but you need someone to set the plays up, right?
So would you? Because I mean, we have one too many. So like, if you
Yeah.
look at on the right hand side, it's you have Caulfield, Anderson, Gallagher.
Yeah.
Um, and on the left, I guess you can swap Anderson and Hoffman, Durant to Foley.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of
There
money
is,
tied
yeah, it
in
is
top
all,
nine.
yeah, it's definitely a lot.
And I just think if we, I'm hoping Gorton shift, which looking at how he used to do trades, like he goes for quality,
Right.
where Bergevin was a quantity guy. So yeah, I don't know. Hoffman, if you would have asked me 2 months ago, I would have said like, oh yeah, Hoffman, just move him to like he's a he's a hired gun. Move him on to the next team.
Right.
Maybe it's Toffoli in the end. I really like Tyler Toffoli. I think him and his wife have been a great like addition to the team. But that's kind of who you're weighing in. Like Caulfield's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Anderson's a beast. Like he's staying.
Yeah. 100%.
Toffoli, I think it would be stupid if anyone said like if you go back like 4 months ago that if someone would say trade Toffoli, you'd be probably slapped. Um, so it's kind of like Drouin and
For
Hoffman.
Yeah. So for me, yeah, geez, man. My odd man out, I think, is I don't know. It's so hard because I prefer Toffoli over Hoffman, but Toffoli's contract, they essentially have the same deal, but one is 1 year shorter, and that's Toffoli. So I'm not so sure he can be in the long term plans anyway.
Mm.
Plus, I think if you retain just a little bit of his salary, and it's because it's so short term, he could be worth so much in terms of future assets, even at this deadline, because you wouldn't just be trading a rental, he'd be a rental plus a season at a really good price tag. And he's, a proven winner,
Yeah.
he can score, he can play well defensively and play in all areas. He was one of our most used forwards in the playoffs. So only because his contract's a year shorter, he might be the odd man out for me, especially where Hoffman might be harder to sell because he doesn't have those, extra qualities that Toffoli has. You might just be
Yeah.
stuck with that gun, like you mentioned. You might just be stuck with having him as a weapon for the next few years on a fairly good contract. So
Yeah.
for me, Tyler Toffoli would be the odd man out. Jonathan Drouin, I think almost for himself, it might be worth shipping him elsewhere. And his contract only has a year on it as well. So I'm not so sure
Yeah.
he's going to want to stick around either. So I think you could get value for him, whether that's this deadline or next as a rental.
So who is it? Toffoli or Drouin?
Dude,
Who's out the door?
it's so difficult, man.
Gordon's going to be the currency guy. Like he's going to be
Yeah,
after the best. So I mean,
and Drouin though has speed, he has skill. I
yeah,
mean, he's the type of player that we'd want to be targeting. I mean, it's tough though because I watch him play
yeah,
and it's giveaway city. I mean, and Cole Caulfield's going through that a little bit now as well. But with
yeah.
that dynamic offense, you get those types of plays. I don't know, man. It's so difficult to try and.
I know certain people, if you say Toffoli, are going to snap.
Oh yeah, for sure. But realistically,
But
he is 29, and he'll have. So I guess he has 2 years after this one. Geez, so I've got that wrong. That's tough. So I don't know, man. Drouin, I guess in that case, Drouin is the easiest one to move because he's the one with the shortest deal. You know,
yeah,
Foley
he's
has.
younger,
Yeah,
and I think he's gone. Like I look what he went through. Come
yeah,
on, like if you're struggling somewhere, do you really, regardless if you've done good things, and he'll always be in the Montreal community. I think like he's just a good
yeah,
human. But God, if you can go play Colorado with McKinnon, your buddy, or go play somewhere else in Florida, like you can like, go play hockey and enjoy yourself.
yeah,
Um, but I just think for me, like Bergevin made the trade for him. Bergevin was not going to trade him. Bergevin's gone. Drouin, who I am a huge fan of, I just think you look at everybody else and you look at you weigh it out like you just did. Like you literally just talked yourself in and talked yourself out of
yeah. I
trading someone
know.
else instead of
Yeah,
him, right? So like Gorton's going to look at that, I would assume, and say, okay, what's the best move to make here? Now, someone might come for a huge offer for Toffoli for the reasons you said, and okay, take it. But because Gorton goes after centers and trades, and he gets them when he wants them.
yeah, and we need one because I think as much as we've defended Christian Dvorak, I think he's best spent in a third line center role and getting
Yeah,
assignments where he's taking extra draws and what have you. I think if you have Suzuki and whoever in your top six, an actual point producing center along with Suzuki that can take away some of his responsibilities as well, I think then you're looking good, right? So
yeah,
it's definitely an area that needs to be improved. And
yeah,
yeah, and I think you're right, man. I think Drouin's the one. I think that he's the easiest to deal. He'll have some value. I mean, when he's healthy, he's a 55 point or so winger. We've seen that he's gotten his shot back this season. So, but
yeah.
yeah, it's tough. But then again,
I, I
it
don't want to see him go. It's just, yeah, I don't want to see him go, but you have to do
right.
what you have to do. I mean, I'm the hypocrite here saying keep David Savard when we're talking about fast skilled players, but whoops.
Right. Right. So yeah, but I'm with you on Armia as well. I mean, he's up there in age. He's on a, I'd say, fair market value contract. I think a lot of teams will covet what he can do on both sides of the puck. But again, the consistency thing, it has not ever, it's never changed. He's been in Montreal for a while now, and it's continuously been, you're going to get that strong defensive play, but you don't know the type of offense you're going to get. I wouldn't be opposed to keeping Lehkonen because he holds value to a team that's competing and he still has age on his side somewhat. But I think he also holds a ton of value and he's a very cheap RFA that could bring in a lot. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I think you're right on that too. I think both Armia and Lek are on the way out.
It's I don't know enough about the Gorton. I keep saying Gorton because that's who we have. But like, were they a three offensive line or traditional two offensive line checker and then a responsible fourth line? Like that I don't know, but I don't think you can have a team as your core that has Lehkonen, Byron, and Armia on it. I think
No.
those are the players you go out and get like Tampa did. Coleman, um, Goodrow, like those Maroon. That's the kind of guys you go and get when you're ready, when you're a contender.
Yeah.
You don't keep spots for them. You
No.
like sorry to people who like Lehkonen. He got us into the cup final. We'll never forget that. But if Dano can go, so can he.